The rain poured in relentless sheets, blurring the road ahead. Somewhere in the darkness, a woman's breath came in short, sharp gasps. She wasn't running from the storm. She was running from the words still echoing in her head, words she never thought she'd hear in her own neighborhood. Her hands trembled as she clutched her young daughter's arm, shielding her from the angry stares burning through the night. But this wasn't just about a glance. It was about something much, much deeper. What could make strangers treat them like they didn't belong in their own home?
Aisha Johnson had built a quiet, steady life in her small suburban neighborhood. Every morning, she walked her 8-year-old daughter, Lila, to the corner bus stop, chatting about homework, favorite cartoons, and weekend plans. Her home, a modest 2-bedroom with a small garden, was her pride. She'd saved for years to buy it, determined to give her daughter safety and stability. Neighbors often waved politely, though few ever stopped to talk. Aisha didn't mind. She kept to herself, balancing her job at the local library with raising Lila on her own. Her evenings were simple, helping with school projects, cooking dinner, and reading bedtime stories. But recently, she had noticed something different. Conversations seemed to stop when she walked into the local store. The cashier's once friendly smile had become thin and strained. Even Lila's classmates, who used to run up to her in excitement, now stood back, whispering. Aisha tried to shake it off. People have bad days, she told herself. Yet the unease lingered, settling over her home like an invisible fog. She didn't know it yet, but a single night, just a few blocks from her front door, would shatter the fragile peace she'd worked so hard to protect.
The first real sign that something was wrong came on a Thursday evening. Aisha was walking home from the library with Layla when a police cruiser slowed beside them. 2 officers peered out, scanning her like they were looking for a suspect. One muttered something into his radio before the car rolled forward and disappeared. Layla clutched her mother's hand tighter. That weekend, Aisha found a note tucked under her doormat. No name, no signature, just 3 words scrawled in black ink. Go back home. Her chest tightened. This was her home. She had worked, saved, and sacrificed for it. But now, it felt like someone was trying to tell her she didn't belong. The next day, at the grocery store, a man blocked her path in the aisle. His eyes were cold, and his voice dripped with contempt. People like you, he sneered, don't fit in here. Aisha stood frozen, Layla hiding behind her. Before she could respond, he stepped aside, smirking as he walked away. Nights grew restless. She noticed a strange car idling near her street more than once, headlights off, engine humming quietly. Every creak of the floorboard made her heart pound. One evening, she stepped outside to take the trash and froze. Spray-painted in jagged red letters across her fence were the words, "Leave now." The sight stole her breath. She scanned the empty street, but it felt like unseen eyes were watching from the shadows. Aisha thought of calling the police, but the memory of that slow-rolling cruiser and the way those officers had looked at her made her hesitate. Then came the night that would change everything. It started with the sound of shattering glass. The crash of shattering glass jolted Aisha from her chair. She raced to the living room, heart pounding, and froze at the sight. Her front window was shattered, shards glittering across the floor like ice. In the center of the chaos lay a brick, wrapped in a strip of paper. Her hands trembled as she unwrapped it. Scrawled in the same jagged handwriting as the fence was a single word: "Get out." Layla appeared in the hallway, wide-eyed and shaking. "Mom, what's happening?" Before Aisha could answer, the faint hum of an engine grew louder. She peered through the broken window to see headlights slowly approaching, the beam cutting across her yard. The car stopped in front of her house, engine idling.
a figure stepped out, a tall man in a dark hoodie, his face hidden in shadow. He stood still, watching. Her pulse roared in her ears. Every instinct screamed to run, but her daughter's small hand gripped hers tightly. The man took a step forward, then another, until he was almost at the edge of her porch. He reached into his pocket, pulling out something metallic that glinted under the streetlight. Aisha's breath caught. She didn't know if it was a weapon, but she didn't wait to find out. With shaking hands, she grabbed her phone and dialed 911. The line clicked. "Emergency services, what's your—" But before she could speak, the man turned his head toward the sound and began walking toward her door.
The man's footsteps echoed on the porch, but before he could reach the door, red and blue lights flashed across the yard. 2 police cars screeched to a stop. Officers spilled out, ordering the man to freeze. He hesitated for a heartbeat, then dropped the metallic object. It clattered onto the porch, revealing itself as a crowbar. Aisha held Layla close as officers led the man away. The night was still heavy with fear, but at least, for now, they were safe. In the days that followed, the neighborhood was suddenly full of hushed conversations and sideways glances. Some neighbors avoided eye contact entirely. Others offered quiet apologies, though none could erase the memory of the threats, the stares, the constant feeling of being unwelcome in her own home. Aisha considered moving, but she realized something. Leaving wouldn't erase what had happened. It wouldn't erase the fact that prejudice still lurked behind polite smiles, that silence could be just as harmful as open hate. She decided to stay, not out of stubbornness, but out of resolve. Layla deserved to grow up knowing her worth, not shrinking from the ignorance of others. Her story became more than a private ordeal. She began speaking about it at community meetings, challenging neighbors to confront the racism that hid in plain sight. Because the truth is, it's not just one brick, one note, or one man in a hoodie. It's the quiet acceptance of injustice that allows it to grow. And if we don't speak up when it happens to one of us, how long before it happens to all of us?